There's the link. Going to YouTube now. My videos. Ba-ba-da. and pin the comment. There we go. I don't know, man. I had a good day yesterday, I guess, but almost good day. Anyway, there's something I would like to show you guys. If anyone's here even. Yeah, we got one person here. Probably nerd. Let me see if I can show this, because this thing is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Here we go.
Grandma, you have a pet?
It's my singing parakeet.
Introducing Perfect Polly, the pet parakeet that comes to life when you enter the room. Perfect Polly is motion activated. When you come near, she starts to move and sing. This life-size replica mimics the sounds and movements of a real parakeet in the wild. Perfect Polly turns to look at you, then starts to sing, and even shakes her tail feathers. Her cheerful lilting song can keep you company all day long. Everyone loves Perfect Polly. Parakeets are the most popular pet bird in the world, but they require a lot of care. Now Perfect Polly brings you all the joy and none of the mess. By the window or on the shelf. With your Perfect Polly, you're never by yourself. So lifelike you won't believe your eyes. Look at the detail in this pretty little Polly. This life-sized Perfect Polly looks right at home in a cage, or perch Polly on your finger and watch her start to sing. Perfect Polly chirps her little tune in the morning or the afternoon. And when it's time to turn out the light, Polly keeps quiet throughout the night. You can get Perfect Polly for...
Okay. Perfect Polly. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, who the fuck is going to go and pet a piece of plastic that chirps? It doesn't make sense to me at all, but...
The parakeet. So beautiful, great to look at, and what a wonderful companion. But live birds can be a lot of work. Well, now you can share that beauty without the mess. With Perfect Polly, the singing parakeet. Perfect Polly is so lifelike, it's the world's perfect pet. And it never needs feeding. It's motion activated, so any movement makes Perfect Polly come to life. Watch as Perfect Polly's head moves back and forth, along with its tail feathers. And Polly's chirping is as sweet and beautiful as a real live parakeet. You'll get all the joy without the mess or expense. Perfect Polly will touch your heart and brighten any room in your home. It's actually life-size, and so amazingly lifelike, you'll almost believe it's real. In fact, even this live parakeet can tell the difference. Enjoy Perfect Polly's company while you're making dinner or relaxing with a good book. Your entire family will love the fun you'll have with Perfect Polly, the singing parakeet. Perfect Polly even makes a great companion for your other pets. It's ideal for condos or small homes that aren't pet-friendly. And unlike real birds, you can turn Perfect Polly off with the touch of a button. Perfect Polly comes with its own perch, or Polly can just sit on your finger and serenade you. Live parakeets need a cage, food, and multiple accessories. That can add up to a lot of money. But Perfect Polly, complete with perch, is yours for only $14.99. Perfect Polly is also available in blue, red, or purple. Perfect Polly, the singing parakeet, is yours for only $14.99. So call and order your Perfect Polly now.
Okay, that's funny because, first of all, they say that birds take a lot of care. A parakeet requires virtually no care whatsoever. All you need is a cage and and you need some bird seed, and that's about it. And water, and water is pretty easy to come by these days. So, and the cost of perfect poly is probably about the same as getting a real bird. I mean, you could get a real bird for like, back in the day, it was like $21. Now it's like $35 or something, or $32. I don't know, but it's cheap for a parakeet, a real parakeet. And then they have the audacity to make it come in red and purple or whatever the hell they said at the end. There's no such thing as a purple parakeet. In fact, I titled a song that I did with my friends Purple Parakeet one time because it was a joke. But there you go. So perfect poly. I suggest if you guys are considering this at all, just get a real fucking bird, Hey, Lord Doc, what's up? Come on up, man. Come on, panel.
This may be the last ad you ever see.
Good, because I
Because
don't
with
want
the
to see
free
any
ad
more
block
ads.
extension from Capital One Shopping, you
Fuck,
can say
I have an
goodbye
ad
to
block
ads on.
that's not working.
The parakeet. So beautiful, great to look at, and what a wonderful companion.
So why don't you just marry it?
But live birds can be a lot of work.
Ah, that's why.
Well, now you can share that beauty without the mess. With Perfect Polly, the singing parakeet. Perfect Polly is so lifelike, it's the world's perfect pet, and it never needs feeding.
Because it isn't a pet, although it is as annoying as one. And it wouldn't do that if it was a real bird. Unless it died.
It's motion activated, so any movement makes Perfect Polly come to life.
Brilliant. Fill your normal and pleasant silence with incessant chirping.
It still doesn't shut up.
Watch as Perfect Polly's head moves back and forth, along with its tail feathers.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And Polly's chirping is as sweet and beautiful as a real live parakeet.
I think they mean shrill and annoying.
It's actually life-size, and so amazingly lifelike, you'll almost believe it's real. In fact, even this live parakeet can't tell the difference.
I think it's wondering whether Skynet has finally taken over.
Enjoy Perfect Polly's company while you're making dinner, or relaxing with a good book.
I can't think of anything worse while I try to read. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up!
And unlike real birds, you can turn Perfect Polly off with the touch of a button.
Well, then it can't be that great if you're acknowledging the fact that people will want to turn it off.
Perfect Polly comes with its own perch, or Polly can just sit on your finger and serenade you.
Okay. Shut up. You see, it doesn't actually... Oh. It's very unbalanced. And if you notice in the infomercial, they hold it. So it... And the holes in the bottom of its feet don't actually line up with the little notches on its perch. So you spend most of your time trying to force it to line up. Shut up! Listen. Create a toy bird for kids, that's fine. But pretending people will sit there admiring it and having it on all the bloody time is a bit questionable. If anybody out there has one for that reason, then please let me know. It's a great joke present, so I would say pick one up for somebody at Christmas. Preferably somebody who you want to annoy.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it says you want to turn it off. Unlike a real bird, you can turn it off, right? Like, well, why would you want to turn off a bird? You know, like, wouldn't that mean killing it or something? You know? How are you going to turn off a bird? Anyway, I'm never turning off my bird as long as I can keep him healthy and alive, even though he's like 90 years old in bird terms. He's still my buddy, and we get along great, and he eats his breakfast every morning and his dinner, and he's hanging in there, so I got no complaints. The only complaint is I thought about maybe at some point getting a new bird, not to replace him, but just because I would like a different kind of bird. And problem is, my bird has what's called Bornavirus, and it's something that only birds get. But birds put what? Live humans often? They don't age like dogs. Yeah, they don't. They live forever. I mean, like if I got an Indian ringneck parakeet or parrot, it would live for 50 years at least, probably. Or 30 for certain, unless it got sick or something, you know. And that's another thing, like, outlive, yeah. That's like, you know, some birds don't live very long because they have poor genetics. Like, I had 2 parakeets that were yellow, and they didn't live very long at all compared to other parakeets. And I think that's because they bred them to have that yellow color, but it ruined their natural genetics, and it made them susceptible to all kinds of diseases and things, and physical ailments, you know. Like when my dad, I had a little yellow parakeet, and when my dad was dying of cancer, he was laying in the bed, and I would bring the bird in to him, and he would play with the bird, and the bird would play with him. But the damn bird died before my dad did, and I got the bird after my dad got sick, you know. He didn't live very long. But I would like to get a Indian ringneck, but I can't have one in the same house or in the same space as my bird who has Bornavirus, because if they come into contact, he's going to transfer it. I mean, they can transfer it even through the cage, so they can't even be in the same cage. So like I thought, well, I could do this, you know, I could bring my bird upstairs and then bring the new one downstairs and then just switch them at a certain point during the day when it's time to go to bed or whatever. But I can't do that because if they're in the same cage, then the new bird would catch Bornavirus. So I don't know how I'm going to figure out that conundrum. I don't want to get the new bird sick, you know. I didn't want to get the old one sick, but apparently he caught it somehow. Maybe he had it from the time that he was in the pet shop. I don't know. Hello.
Good morning, Zatu.
Morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Yeah, my husband, I know you know this, that I'm widowed twice. Well, my second husband, when he died, he had a stroke.
Yeah.
He had a cockatiel that he'd raised from an egg. Like they hatched at a local breeder, and she had too many hatchlings, so she gave my mom 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
To raise, and we ended up with one of them, and my husband dropper fed this bird from a hatchling. Like it was, I'm going to be disgusting here. He did the bird feeding thing. He would chew up food and let the bird eat it out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like it was his baby. And he had several chihuahuas. Within a week of him dying, the bird had a stroke, and his prized chihuahua had a stroke and died. We thought his chihuahua had suddenly onset epilepsy. We took him to the vet because he started having seizures after my husband died in that first week. And by the end of the week, he died. And in the autopsy, it was determined he wasn't having seizures. He didn't have epilepsy. He'd had a series of strokes. But it was really interesting about how pets like identify on, you know, like they
get
bond so strongly with their owners. And I'm wondering if the birds you're talking about, you know, imprinted more with your dad than you, and they saw he was going, and so they went.
I wonder, yeah. I mean, it was just a little parakeet, and I didn't have him for very long, like maybe, I don't know, like 8 months or something, and that was really early for a bird to pass away in my care, like, but
It just makes me wonder if it was, more related to the fact that they imprinted more with your dad. Because I know, like, in the wild, if a lot of birds mate for life, and if their mate dies, they'll refuse to eat and let themselves die too.
yeah, I know. I wonder if
Anyway,
I'm not.
that's why I
like,
came up.
I think I might be like a bird because whenever people die, I stop fucking eating too.
Yeah, I used to get really emotional about deaths, but then when you get so many of them close to you, after a while, it just like when my mom died a couple years ago, had less tears in me than I did like when my dad died before that and when my husband's died before that. Like
Yeah, it
she
just
was
gets
my
away.
rock, and I was devastated. I just couldn't cry as much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate to say it, but you kind of get used to it, right?
And I don't know if it's get used to it or if it's learn to cope,
Right. Yeah.
because people are always throwing out that word cope like it's a bad thing. And to me, being someone with PTSD, cope is a really good thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I got
if I don't, go ahead.
No, I just said I have PTSD too, so I know kind of what you're talking about,
Yeah, if I hadn't learned coping skills, I'd probably be locked in an institution somewhere.
My coping skills are based on marijuana.
That is definitely one of my copes. I gave up alcohol. It's been 6.5 years since I had a drink, and I haven't done any hard drugs since. Oh God, it's been 20 years at least.
And
And
what time is it now? Okay, it's been 2 hours since I last had a drink.
and but cannabis, I don't know that I'll ever give it up. It cured my cancer. It keeps my PTSD in check. It's just one
Yeah.
of those things.
Oh, hey, you got to oblige the beehole patrol. Show your beehole.
My beehole.
Yeah, your butthole. Show it.
I'm not showing my butthole. You can see my joint
Oh, that's nice.
there.
Bring it over.
There's something for them to clip.
Yeah, I don't know. Life is fucking ridiculous. I wish I never agreed to come here.
That's interesting because I have a son who is pretty moderate autism. He's a college student now, graduating in the fall. I'm pretty proud of him. But when he was about 3, he made a comment that was like beyond his years, and I looked at him and I'm like, where did you learn that? He's like, in the school, Mom. I'm like, the school? He's like, the school I was in before I came here, where I chose you and Dad as my parents.
Oh.
He was like 3, and we're not like deeply religious people, so it was kind of interesting for him to say something that spiritual.
Yeah. I have this memory of being given 3 choices, and they told me that, well, one of the choices was just so bad that I was like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. And then the second choice was my life would be easy in the beginning but hard at the end. And then the third choice was my life would be hard at the beginning but easy at the end. And because I was scared, I chose the easy at the beginning one. And they made me drink out of this like fucking sluice that had water going through it. And they said, well, you have to drink out of it to forget. And I was like, well, I don't want to forget. And they were like, well, you have to,
See, that makes me just really enforces my belief in the egg theory that we're all just one spirit having experiences to move on to the next realm,
Yeah.
So that's, like we are God and God is us, just like the Bible says, but only for real, not metaphorically.
Well, what if God is just experiencing every possibility all at once through us, so that it's like, and through insects and through planets and
Plants,
asteroids.
yes. That's the egg. That's totally my philosophy.
Yeah. I think God is just experimenting with everything to see the truth of infinity or something. I don't know.
Well, none of my other kids ever claimed this or tried to describe it, but my son, the autistic, the more autistic one, I have two kids with. Well, three, but the other one got diagnosed as an adult. So, but I have two kids with autism. The boy, he tells me he remembers his birth.
I remember sitting in a basket on the kitchen table when my grandparents came over for the first time to see me. And I remember sitting there and I remember trying to say something, but I couldn't fucking form words. So I couldn't say a goddamn thing. And I was like, I wanted to yell out like, hey, I know what's going on. I'm here, like, but I couldn't form words because I was like, what? Not even a week old or whatever, 2 weeks old. I don't know.
Well, with his autism, he didn't speak until he was nearly 4 years old. And when he did, he spoke in sentences and he was able to read.
That's good.
Like, I mean, the first thing he said was, "Mama, what did dinosaurs taste like?"
Uh-oh.
And it was a full sentence.
I just had an incident happen here. I bought a ring from Temu.
Yeah.
And I really like it. And I just went to take it off of my finger and the inside of it just came completely off. I guess
the inside of it.
I guess there's two pieces like glued together or something.
Is it a metal, like aluminum, or?
It's supposed to be stainless steel, but shit, that's not good. No wonder it's so cheap, huh?
I don't know. Most of the things I've bought from Temu, I've had good experience with. I have bought gardening stuff, and everything seemed to work fine. The spade I bought from Walmart fell apart. The shovel piece came right out of the handle within like a week, and the one I got from Temu, I've had. Well, this will be the second season, and it hasn't given me any issues.
Oh, look at this guy here. Los the Ghost. Death Cannon.
Well, that was what I thought too, but the further I talked with him about it, Los, he made it clear that we all have those memories in us of all of these things. We just have to remember them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's true that we're all one thing, and we must be, because, I mean, we can understand each other, we can communicate with each other, and it's like we have to be all part of one thing.
Well, we all identify ourselves in relation to each other also.
Yeah.
Like, there is no self without the rest. Like, how do I identify myself as anything if I don't compare it to everything else?
Right. I'm so disappointed because I thought I finally had gotten something for cheap that was, legit. Because I don't buy like expensive jewelry or anything,
My advice, if you like to wear jewelry, Satoichi, my mother was...
I like rings, that's all.
My mother was a collector of various types of jewelry, and she wasn't a wealthy woman ever, but she shopped secondhand stores.
Yeah.
And if you shop secondhand stores, the thing is, it didn't fall apart for the person who wore it before you. So even if it's not an expensive piece of jewelry, it's more likely to last for you too.
But I wear like the cheap, like fucking metalhead kind of jewelry, like a 14-year-old girl might wear or something, like in the 80s.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of that in thrift stores. I mean, they're not as cheap as they used to be. I remember my mom used to walk out with a bag of jewelry, sometimes with real silver and gold in it. She's really good at spotting it. And she'd walk out with a bag of jewelry from the thrift shop, like a whole zippy bag for like $5. And nowadays, you know, even the thrift shops, ever since that guy with his thrift shop song, that Macklemore guy, now it's cool to thrift shop and it's called vintage. And you go in and they want $75 for a pair of jeans. They, when you bought them brand new in the 80s, they would only cost you 12.
Yeah. Yeah, now they're vintage, you know. Like I have bass equipment that's over 35 years old, and they call that vintage now. And I suppose it's even considered antique, right? Because it's only what 25 years before something's antique.
Yeah, yeah, it's trippy. I guess we're really vintage and antique, aren't we?
Yeah.
My daughters, I have clothing. I've stayed about the same size except for when I was pregnant my whole life.
Yeah.
So I have clothing from high school in the 90s, and some of those styles came back, and my daughters raided my closet. And we were out to lunch one day, and my mother-in-law tells my daughter, "Oh, I really like your shirt." And she goes, "Oh, it's my mom's." And I'm like, "No, actually, it's my mom's." Because I did the same thing to her, you know?
Yeah.
Because we stayed basically our same size, so clothes,
Hey,
I don't have to shop a lot. Most of my clothes are pretty old.
well, I wear the same shit like all the time. I have a uniform. It's Carhartt jeans and a black t-shirt, or you know, a black t-shirt with some kind of skull on it, or you know, like, or a band. I mean, I'm just basic. Wicked basic. If I have to
Shannon,
dress up, I'll put on like a nice shirt, you know, to go to dinner or something, but that's about it.
my mister wears pretty much Pink Floyd t-shirts and jeans every day. And they're almost all Pink Floyd t-shirts too.
Yeah,
There's a
Roger
couple
Waters,
others.
the bass player of Pink Floyd, he used to dress in black jeans and a black t-shirt. That's probably where I got it from.
R.I.P. Roger Waters.
He didn't die.
Isn't he the one who died like last year?
No, I don't think so. Jesus, I would have heard about that.
I thought he was. No, it was Lemmy who died, huh?
Oh yeah, Lemmy. Yeah, Lemmy was a big hero of mine.
I like what Shannon says, and Shannon, I'm proud of you in this day and age of all these naked bodies for maintaining that bush under your sweatpants. Did I tell you that we went to see Brit Floyd last year, and we're taking my youngest daughters to go see Brit Floyd this summer?
Nah, I saw them myself a couple of years ago. It was
Yeah, they have
crazy. Some dude walked up to me. Like, I don't even know who the hell these people were, but these two guys just came up to me. And they're like, and they just hand me this joint, and we're just all smoking this joint together. They never even introduced themselves or anything. And we're smoking this joint, and then right as I'm taking a huge rip off it, I turn my eyes to the right, and there's a fucking cop standing right next to me, just watching it. And he didn't say a word. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Typically, when you're safe in the concert venue, if you're not bothering anybody nearby you, security, cops, they kind of butt out. But
Well, this was
I
outside,
don't think.
like outside the venue, you know, it wasn't
Oh
inside.
wow!
Like, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit, I guess people are a lot cooler than they used to be about that, you know?
Yeah, the last show we went to was 21 and up, so there was a lot of like people pulling out baggies of mushrooms to eat at the
Oh,
beginning of the
yeah,
concert. But this
that's my.
next one is all ages, so it won't be as lax in the rules.
I bought a half ounce and I ate the whole damn thing and nothing happened because they were stale, I think.
Or they just weren't magic mushrooms because
No,
they
they
don't really
were.
go stale.
They,
You can have
they
them for
were.
years.
They were at one point, but I think they had just been sitting around for too long.
That'd have to be a really fucking long time. They can sit
Mm.
for years once they're dried properly. It's the thing with mushrooms though is that they're like anything else that's medicinal. It affects people differently.
Yeah. Well, the last time I did them, I was starting to have some like flashes that, like, you know what I mean? Like flashes of mandalas and things just like appearing before my eyes. And
Right, but
then,
you know that there's like 15 varieties of quote unquote magic mushrooms, and maybe you got some.
well, no, these were the same ones, but it was like a period of time afterwards, like months after. So I think that's why they must have been stale.
I don't know. I have some that have been sitting in my safe for a year, and they haven't lost their potency.
Mm, I don't know.
I microdose. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
my
would like
neuropathy.
I would like to do that, but it's not legal here yet. So
Well, New Mexico decriminalized it a long time ago because of the native population and for peyote and mushrooms, and now they've actually legalized use of mushrooms in a clinical setting for therapies for PTSD and other things.
yeah, and that's what I would want to do it for.
Yeah, they just did that like earlier this month or late last month. It passed for them to be able to for psychologists and psychiatrists to be able to use it in a clinical setting with patients.
Lo says he's gonna help me. How are you gonna help me? You got mushrooms? No, they have a thing, Spravato, they call it. It's like a ketamine treatment, and they shoot it up your nose like a nasal spray. I could get that from the doctor or whatever, but I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that or not.
I thought with the ketamine though, you have to use it at the doctor's office. Like they can't prescribe it for you to use on your own.
Right.
It has to be supervised, right?
You can't abuse it, so it's not going to be any good.
Well, I don't think that's what it is. I think it has to be supervised because for a brief period you're not in a right state of mind, like for self-care.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
you're out of your mind for a little while. You're kind of like dissociated, apparently. And I don't know how it's going to work on me because shit doesn't seem to work on me very well. But I get the feeling that like the supervision with me wouldn't be necessary, because I'll be sitting there like I'll feel fucked up a little, but I'm not going to be out of my head,
Well, it doesn't. It's more like making you almost a psychopath. You're able to dissociate from your pain enough to talk about it without reliving it. Is why.
What pain? I mean, I don't have any.
You said you have PTSD. We're talking emotional pain.
But it's not pain. It's just like a lot of fucking traumatic experiences that happened, like creating intense fear or whatever, or
right.
excitement.
Those emotions are what I'm referring to when I say talk about your pain. Talk about the things that are causing you to have these, wrongly written neural pathways. And you're able to find the right the more right kind of neural pathways when you disassociate from it.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what they say. I've been reading the studies because I read a bunch of them on ketamine and mushrooms and other stuff because of my neuropathy from my PTSD and physical traumas. I have pretty bad neuropathy, and it forces you when you're in that position to look for stuff for yourself because unfortunately there's not a whole lot that the AMA does about it.
Yeah. What's going on out here? I hear noises. It's Sunday. Oh shit, I think my neighbor's mowing his lawn finally.
Can you hear all the birds out here?
No.
It's like a symphony out here on my porch. So many birds.
Yeah, I love birds. I'm like the patron saint of birds, if there were such a thing.
I was never much into birds, and then when my mom passed, I started noticing ravens a lot. Like where I live, there's a lot of breeding pairs of ravens, and
Mm,
I'd
they're
never really
smart.
paid much attention to them. And now, like, I notice them come talk to me. They'll come and sit on the tree here by my porch and literally talk to me. They hang out in my field. Like I don't know that they weren't there before doing the same things, but I've taken notice of them now.
Yeah, they can mimic human speech.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mother was a bird person. She had parrots and cockatoos and cockatiels, but she was an everything person. My mom had dogs and cats and snakes
Mm.
and lizards and rodents and birds, like whatever pet she could get her hands on. Like my whole life, we went through so many different pets. We had two different parrots, but she only fostered them. She wasn't interested in keeping them, so we only had them for, I think, Petey, we had him for a year before we finally found him a permanent home.
Yeah.
She never wanted to take them on because my whole life she was diagnosed as terminally ill, and she knew I didn't much care for the birds, and she didn't know what would happen to them after she went, so she fostered
Right.
the longer living birds like the cockatoo and the two parrots were fostered. We had ferrets at one point. Those were awful.
Ferrets?
Oh God, I hated those. They steal everything and they hide it in the walls.
Oh, great.
They dig holes in the drywall and you have to find the hole, and they're tiny little holes they can squeeze through like mice.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Their
So
heads,
it'd
like,
be,
as long as they can get their head through, then the rest of the body will follow.
and they steal shit. Like they'll steal anything they can fit through the hole with them, and if they can't fit it, they'll make the hole bigger. They stole my glasses. My mom wore dentures. They would steal her dentures regularly.
You imagine you're walking around and there's this ferret with dentures in his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, anything that they see you handling regularly and they think might be important to you, they steal it. They're little fuckers.
I've known some people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We had my partner allowed his son to work on his vehicle in our garage, and he brought over some friends one day. And when they were all in and out of the house, kind of using the bathroom a little, they sat down to dinner with us. Seemed like good kids. And about an hour after they left, I realized my wallet was gone and they never got it back.
Oh boy. Yeah. And my friend had a girlfriend that did shit like that. She pretended I was drunk one night and she pretended to be like caring about me and putting me to bed or whatever. And she really just stole my one hitter because it had weed in it. And I didn't care about the weed. I just wanted the one hitter because that was like given to me by somebody that was important. And, and like she just stole it for the weed. And it's like, I would, I'm like, just give me the fucking one hitter. I would give you the weed, but never got it back because she would never admit that she was a thief, even though we all knew that she was.
Yeah, that's the worst part is when you have to let people go because they aren't willing to admit their faults. It's not that you hold their faults against them so much that you can't be around them. It's that they're not willing to own up to them.
All right. Like, what am I, stupid? I know that the thing didn't just disappear into thin air, Even after my friend moved out of that house, he told me that right when he was moving out of the house, he did one final sweep just to make sure, and he looked through everything, and it was not there. Yeah.
One of the things I grew up hearing a lot, I grew up pretty hippie with a lot of bikers and hippies around me. One of the things I heard a lot from people was if something leaves your possession, it wasn't meant to be in your possession.
Yeah.
It's ready to move on.
However, if I catch the motherfucker that took it, there's going to be a problem.
Well, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but that, that was the philosophy they went by. And so you would see people who stole from one another in these hippie communes, and they'd see somebody else with their thing, and everybody would be like, well, yeah, but it probably was meant to be with them, not you then. Yeah, I mean, I kid you not. I had a very uh, interesting upbringing, and you'd hear that a lot. My mom was not that way. She was like, you touch my shit, you die.
Yeah. Well, I had a friend, I say, but he took one of my bass guitars because I left it over at the house that he was living in with all of my other friends, and he put it in a pawn shop and didn't tell me. So I show up one day and I go to play it, and I'm like, where is it? And they're like, we got to tell you something. I'm like, what? They're like, this dude put your bass in the pawn shop. And I'm like, what? I was like, I'll fucking kill him. But they got it back for me. So I didn't make a big deal out of it. But it's just like, man, who the fuck do you think you're fooling? Taking my shit like that, without permission.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Sharon, but when you're still learning in life, you're bound to be surrounded at times by people you don't trust. Not everybody has judgment and discernment out of the womb. It takes experience and life experience and years to build up that judgment and discernment.
There's just certain things you don't mess with, like a person's instrument. Like one time, this dude, I let him borrow one of my basses, and he went and adjusted everything on it, thinking he was doing me a favor. But I had it set up exactly the way that I wanted it, and he fucking ruined it for me. By thinking he's doing me a favor. And I got a little pissed because it's like, who told you to do that? Like you just go ahead and do it on my instrument. I don't know.
So I played flute for a lot of years, and then we would store our instruments in the band room, and it got robbed, and a lot of our personal instruments and the school instruments were stolen, and most of the kids, their parents owned a home, so they had homeowners insurance that just replaced their instrument for them.
Yeah.
And we were renters. I mean, we weren't even renters. We were regularly evicted renters. And so we went to the pawn shop, and my mom bought me this thing she thought was a clarinet, and she brought it home, and I learned to play oboe.
Wow.
And then now, about 5-6 years ago, she went to a pawn shop and she saw what she thought was an oboe, and I haven't had one in years. And she purchased it for me and brought it home, and she brought me a clarinet. So now I'm learning clarinet.
She did the right thing, just years apart,
Yeah. Well, and the fingering is almost the same between like flute, sax, oboe, clarinet. The fingerings for the notes are fairly similar, so it's not hard to learn. It's just the embouchure you have to change.
You see Sharon Peters here?
Yeah, I play that flute too, but I also have my flute and a clarinet and a keyboard.
Well,
and
I have a real
guitar.
flute. I have a real flute, but it's made out of the same plastic that they make keyboards out of. So it's like, it was $180, I think. But it's a real flute, like it's just not as good as a metal one.
I only paid like $120 for my for my stainless flute.
You gotta
I don't
get
know.
one made out of pure silver.
I'm not a really great flautist. I remember I played in my youth, and I play occasionally now. It's not something I do a lot. And the mister plays guitar. And my second husband played saxophone, and my first husband played guitar. I think music's important. My son has put out an album now of rap songs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I have to get the link again. I don't know what I did with it. Start sharing it. It's not my taste in music, but I really love his lyrics. He's a really good lyricist.
Hmm.
You know, I keep hearing this rusty trombone thing. Highlight that one, Zatoichi. I keep hearing about this, but it's like, you know, I was a bartender for 20 years, and then they tell me drinks now, and I have no idea. I was a
That's not
swinger
a
for
thing.
most of my life. Wait, let me
That's,
finish. I was a swinger for most of my life, and they keep throwing out these sexual positions these days I've never heard of. What the fuck is a rusty trombone?
I used to know, and then I forgot because it's like something that never comes up in my normal life. But
I mean, I can't say if I have or I haven't because I have no fucking idea what it is. I mean, I was a trisexual most of my life. Now I'm in menopause, so it's not as prominent in my life, but I was a trisexual. I'll try anything twice, except for children and dogs, you know? Well, not dogs, but animals in general. I do that with food too. If I don't try it at least twice, I don't know if I really liked it. Because maybe
well,
the
that's
person who showed it to you the first time fucked it all up and did it wrong.
yeah. That's why I had to force myself to like. There's a Japanese food called natto, and it's fermented soybeans, and it's fucking disgusting. And I had to force myself to like it, and now I actually enjoy eating it.
I'm sorry, Sharon. I'm one of those lazy people who will say I don't know what something is and not bother to look it up because I mean, if I'd been interested in looking it up, I told you I've seen this term a few times lately. I would have already, especially not on Urban Dictionary. If it's on Urban Dictionary, I'd probably rather not know what it means.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Rusty trombone is a sexual act in which a man stands with his knees and back slightly torqued, with feet at least shoulder width apart to expose his anus. The person typically kneels behind the man and performs analingus while reaching up beneath the scrotum around the body to manually administer rapid back and forth motions of the penis, mimicking the motions of a trombone player.
I thought they called that like tossing salad or a rim job or something. I don't know. I don't know. The names never mattered when you're in the act, but I've never been one for mouth to ass play at all.
That's a
Not
new
doing it or receiving it.
that's a new thing, isn't it?
Mouth to ass play?
Yeah.
No, it's a really old thing. It's just not a thing I ever.
Yeah, but
No,
like people
I
talk about
never
it
got
more
into
than
it.
ever.
Well, people talk about everything now more than ever. I mean, when I was in middle school and I started my period, it scared the life out of me, and I didn't tell like my girlfriends about it. But now, you know, the girls will ask each other out loud in class for a tampon. We'd sneak it into our
Yeah.
pocket so that we could get to the bathroom with it and no one saw it and we were embarrassed of it. And now they talk about it like they'll sit there and have a conversation with boys in the room about their periods. And like when we were growing up, that never would have happened.
Right.
People talk about everything more, and that's good and bad, you know, because now everybody thinks they have a right to an opinion on everything. If you don't know enough
Yeah.
about a subject, you really don't have a right to an opinion on it. Leave it to the people who know.
Right. Experience is the best teacher, they say.
Yeah, so many kids these days like think they have an opinion on things and they let it create this existential threat in their life because their opinions are so negative of things when
Yeah.
really they don't even know enough about it to have an opinion, because if you ask them to define the terms they're using, they have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah, it's like everybody that goes up and talks to Charlie Kirk and accuses him of shit, you know, and he just shuts them down with like wisdom and normal thinking, you know.
Or that
They don't-
girl, the pretty one who used to work with Charlie Kirk. She does liberal hive mind now. She's a really pretty young, 30, late 20s, early 30s, young girl, real pretty. And she goes out and she just asks people, like they'll say they hate Trump. Well, name one thing he did that you don't like.
Yeah,
One thing
they
about
can't.
him you don't like. And they'll
They
say,
can't.
well, he's racist. Well, show proof he's racist. Like show 1 ounce of proof. And they can't come up with any evidence for their opinions.
Right, because they catch sound bites that they hear in the media, and they form their entire political opinion upon that one sound bite that they heard someone that they trust in the media say, and now that's their opinion, and they have no fucking factual basis for any of it.
Some famous philosopher, and I use a lot of quotes. If I say something smart, I'm quoting somebody, I just don't remember who the fuck it was I read it from because I read too much. Some famous philosopher said the first lie wins.
Said what?
The first lie wins. If you get your lie in first, once you get it in there,
Oh, I never heard that.
it's already set in their brains, and everybody else has to disprove that
Right.
in order to prove their own point.
Well, it's like when I got arrested. The guy's threatening to kick my ass. I jump out of the car and pull out a little 3-inch knife and, just show it to him. And then he starts screaming to call the cops and they arrest me. It's like I was the one sitting in my car minding my own business in the beginning. I wasn't doing anything. Why the fuck are you bothering me? But
She
that's
said
the way it
something
goes.
about
The
these.
first guy wins,
That's the way it is. It is. She said something about these young kids saying they're pansexual. Well, my youngest daughter, when she was like in 2nd grade, came home and told me she was a lesbian. And I was like, well, why are you a lesbian? And she said, well, because girls are cool and boys are gross. And I was like, honey, that's normal at your age. You need to wait. You need to wait to decide what you think about that stuff because it's way beyond your years. And she's starting to come into puberty now, and she's like, Mom, I don't know what my sexuality is, and you were always right that I should just wait and let things happen naturally as they do instead of trying to conform to some societal thing. And these rallies now, like, I get really confused. I'm not pro-Palestinian, I'm not pro-Israeli. I want the whole damn thing to be over, whatever. Wars happen over land, and typically whoever wins gets the land. That's history. That's how we got America. So I'm not really trying to pick sides. I just want it to be over. But what I don't get is gays for Palestine. The vast majority of Palestine is very religious. They're not all Hamas, mind you, but they're also Christians and other groups of Muslims. And fundamentalist Christians, Muslims, and stuff, they don't support your rights to be gay, honey. They will stone you in the street, literally, and be applauded for.
They'll kill the Jews.
Yeah, like they don't get it. That like I get being for these small children that they're putting on the TV every day and on the social media every day and yada yada. I get supporting those small children not being bombed. I'm all for that. Who isn't? But the people they're talking about that they support, this idea of Palestine, a united Palestine, they would stone you in the streets and be cheered for it.
Yeah.
Like they complain that people here aren't accepting enough of the LGBTQ plus blah 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 alphabet.
I think it's pretty goddamn accepting. I don't think they allow that shit in Russia either.
But they want to fight the government here for a regime that would not allow them to exist at all, much less accept them.
So stupid. I mean, it's like Jews for Hitler, like.
Or this idea, like you see these kids at these protests, they will walk up to conservative reporters and call them Nazis, and at the same time they're throwing their food and drinks at Jewish students who are walking across campus because of the Palestine. Like the same people will call the conservative a Nazi and then throw shit at a Jew. Wait, what?
This world makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
I feel like a grandma on a porch looking at the kids going, get off my grass, and you don't understand. And then I also am young enough to remember being that kid in the grass going, nah, bitch, you don't understand.
All right.
So it's hard to say who's right and wrong, but it's definitely different than what we knew.
What's this? White people are
Perverters.
apologizing for being white?
There is this thing about white guilt. You see a lot of people who they call advocates, who they aren't gay, they aren't POC, they aren't in any of these protected classes, but they speak out adamantly for them because they have this white guilt, because they've been told that, you know, the white man oppressed and abused everyone.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, we were oppressed and abused ourselves, so it's not like we were the only ones.
Well, I mean, the big thing that fuels that is percentages of the population. When you look at the United States, it's always been a majority white. So, of course, the majority of the wealthy are going to be white, but not all the whites are going to be wealthy. But because the majority of the wealthy are white, it's easy to displace the hate that you have towards actual oppressors to the color of their skin. Because, you know, the first slave owner on American soil was a black man, not a white man. And he came and brought slaves to sell to the white man.
Well, you have a fan. Can you read that?
So I did, and thank you, Sharon. I don't know if I'm right. I'm verbose.
Can you hold this down for like 2 seconds? Because I gotta go downstairs and get a drink. But I'll be right
Go do
back.
what you gotta do, Zato. I'll have a conversation with Sharon here.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Daddy's here. Yay. Hey, Daddy. I saw that live you did with this Nikki person who's in the chat. And I realized that maybe some of the hate I've been getting lately for being Nikki is residual from your new Nikki friend. And by you, I mean, you know, the shit show community, not you personally, because I'm pretty sure it was on AC's panel. But well, because I don't talk to most of those people anymore, and I was getting told I was saying things that about people who I don't even know, and I was like, huh? I don't know this person. How could I be saying something about them when I've never met that person? Like, don't know them. Oh, on a good news front, Val went live last night. He's alive and well. He's got a GoFundMe. If anybody's interested, I will put it on my community page or my post page later if I have one. I don't know if I have enough subscribers to even post community. I know I can't go live yet. I don't have enough subscribers for that. So yeah, by the way, there's not many people here, but if people want to see me go live again, they should sub to my channel.
I'm back. Oh, Jamie's here.
But if people want to donate, Val needs a criminal defense fund gotten together, and he has a GoFundMe, and I'll find a way to post it later on.
That just reminds me, I didn't have my banner up.
And I do believe the DUI guy has claimed that he is representing Val in the civil portion of this, but he still has to find a lawyer to represent him in the legal portion of it, because he does have charges outstanding. Anyway, Zato, sorry.
No problem.
I used your platform to promote Val's GoFundMe.
Oh yeah. What's up with him? He got released, right?
He was live last night, and he started a GoFundMe for his legal defense, and that DUI guy on YouTube is taking his case for the civil portion.
Huh.
And he seemed pretty well. He wore the arrest shirt, and people wanted to bid on it because he used to auction stuff and people wanted to bid on his arrest shirt.
What, that striped shirt?
Yeah, the one that ended up in the action figure doll, the AI action figures.
Hmm. Well, I think I'm going to shut this down because I got some shit I got to do, and I'm supposed to cook dinner tonight, and I don't know what I'm even going to make. Maybe stuffed peppers. You ever have those?
Which, well, depending. So there's variations of stuffed peppers. We have something we call a chile relleno, which literally means stuffed pepper. And then you could do, if you're talking about like the German stuffed peppers, where it's, stuffed with meat and
Yeah, it's just like
veg and.
hamburger and peppers with some tomato sauce.
Do you use rice or potato or anything?
Nah, I've seen people put rice in it, but I don't like rice in it.
My kids like it with rice. I
Yeah.
prefer it with like mushrooms and meat and
Oh yeah, mushrooms I like.
maybe
That's
some zucchini cut, like saute some zucchini and mushrooms with the meat and then put it
There
in.
you go. That's a good idea.
Did you put cheese on top?
Yeah, like sometimes I'll put provolone or just like regular American. Not that American is real cheese, but like
I've,
those
I've, spent,
singles,
I've spent most of my life being a housewife and being the primary provider of meals for my family. I've had kids since my teens because me and my mom took care of my older sister's son for several years. Well, she got herself cleaned up,
Yeah.
And so I've been raising kids my whole life. And so I've tried like so many different recipes. And like, so when people say, have you tried this? I'm like, well, which version? Because
Yeah.
we probably made 6 versions of that.
Yeah. Well, I made Dorito chicken recently, and I thought it was going to be better than it was. It really didn't have much flavor, and because I thought the Doritos would be really, like powerful flavored, and it just came out kind of bland. All you do is you just dip it in seasoned flour, dip it in eggs, and then dip it in Doritos and bake it. I wonder if it would be better fried, Maybe that would be do like chicken cutlets, but fry them.
I don't know. We used to do it and we called it fucking because we would use Funyuns.
Oh, yeah? That's
chicken.
a good idea. Yeah, Funyuns would taste good probably.
And it gave it that crunch. And yeah, no, those were way better than Doritos.
Yeah.
And the kids called it fucking.
Fucking?
Funyun chicken.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna shut it down, but thank you for coming, Nikki, and I'm always
Well, I
glad.
saw the words and that's what I came hoping for, but it was nice chatting with you.
Well, I did have it up at one point, but nobody was playing it, so
Yeah, I didn't get in here fast enough.
I can put it up now if you want, and I don't have to be here for it to run.
I mean, if nobody's going to play with me, what's the point? You said nobody was playing. Next time you want to play it, I'll play it with you again.
All right.
You have a good one.
All right, you too. Thank you for coming. All right, I'm out of here. I got to. What do I have to do? I got to get some shit to cook dinner. I got to practice. I got to do laundry, clean the house, clean my room here, basically, and probably some other stuff that I have not yet been made aware of. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you for coming. Bye.